Live and local with coverage you can count on. This is WNEM-TV5 News at 5:30.
It's cold. It's 6 below in my truck. That's cold.
6 below, that's more than cold. That is just downright brutal. And for thousands of local students, they had an extended weekend thanks to the extreme temperatures this morning.
But for some students, it's the third straight school day to be out of the classroom. WNEM-TV5's Elena Holland has more.
Feels like it's sub-zero. It's cold.
Cold it was. So cold, many area schools told their students to stay home.
Cold to where your hands hurt if you're out like with more than like 5 minutes pumping gas or anything. Very cold.
I mean, you live here in Michigan, so it's kind of expected, you know.
But what's not expected, 3 snow days or cold days in a row. We visited Birch Run Public Schools where the students have been away from the classroom since last Wednesday.
I agree with it. There's a lot of kids that are waiting for buses and they don't need to be out there waiting in this cold. So no, I totally agree.
We asked local residents what they thought of the 5-day weekend. Most of them said safety was the main concern.
There's a lot of kids that drive to or walk to school and they don't have that transportation. So, and even standing out at the bus stop. Also, if you don't have a parent or someone to wait there with you, it's a little too cold for them to stay outside.
An empty school playground is evidence of a day off of school. But today might even be too cold for the kids to play even outside at home. Carol Ferguson says she wouldn't let her grandchildren build a snowman today.
Oh yes, yes. I had a couple of them last week for the week and I wouldn't let them out, so no, too cold.
But the schools are quickly using up the allotted number of snow days. Pretty soon they'll have to add days in June.
I think that it's always something they say, but I feel like they should, I mean, the kids they're missing a lot of school right now. Like they need to catch up on what they're missing. So I think if that's going into June, that's what they have to do.
In Birch Run, Elena Holland, WNEM-TV5.
And even though schools were called off, many parents just don't have that option to stay home from work. So we asked you what you do for childcare when the weather closes school. Jacqueline posted Stepping Stones Daycare and Preschool in Midland has been wonderful for daycare, and they provide transportation to and from school if needed. And Ashley says the last-minute cancellation is what makes things so tough. It would be much easier if the schools would call off a little earlier than 5 a.m. If they know it's going to be extremely cold and half the state is closed, why must they wait? Remember, you can join the conversation by posting on our Facebook wall or by tweeting us using the hashtag FastFeedback.
A live look over Veterans Memorial Bridge in Bay City and I-75 in Genesee County right now, where traffic is flowing smoothly. But don't let today's sunshine fool you. It's wickedly cold out there with temperatures struggling to make it into the double digits. I'm here in the First Warn 5 Weather Center with meteorologist Brian Bachman, and please tell us there's a warm-up on the way.
I would love to tell you that, but it's going to be in, I would say, about a package that comes about that big.
Oh.
Very, very sporadic, very brief, unfortunately, and for at least a little bit more of a prolonged one, we may have to wait as far out as the weekend. Even then, we're not necessarily talking about warm temperatures, but, you know, I guess anything is better than what we've been dealing with at this point. Here's a look at our current conditions around the region this evening, and as David alluded to there, you know, it was a struggle to even make those 11s you see from Saginaw to Flint, Alma, Owasso, Mount Pleasant as well. 10 also in Oscoda, but you head into the Thumb and you're hanging in the middle to upper single digits as you are in Houghton Lake this evening. First Warn 5 Sky Tracker. Silver lining to today was that at least we had some nice bright sunshine out there, so if you could find a spot that was sheltered from the wind and maybe you didn't have to go outside to begin with, you could just open up the window. You could enjoy some of it a little bit. We are keeping our eyes out for a new disturbance rolling in across the Canadian border this evening. You can see some scattered snow showers moving in across northern Minnesota. That heads our way for tomorrow. Stop me if you heard this one before. More temperature records being broken this morning. We set a new record low in the Tri-Cities, the previous -2. We completely blew that one out of the water, or ice, I guess. -14 was the overnight low this morning in Saginaw, setting a new record that had previously stood for 81 years. Heading to Flint, also a very cold morning there. Previous record was 10 below. We broke that one by a full 7 degrees. That one only set about 4 years ago, but hey, still cold is cold. 17 degrees below zero. We will drop into the low single digits as the evening wears on. Partly cloudy skies will hang on till about 9 o'clock, but then the clouds will start to gradually win out after or shortly around, or rather around or shortly after, I'll say that sentence right, midnight. We'll talk more about some snow that's headed our way for tomorrow, coming up in your full forecast.
So if they don't go to school, then they shouldn't be out playing ball.
Keeps them doing positive things on a Friday night.
With kids being told to stay home from school because of the extreme cold, that does not always mean keeping them off the court.
It's continuing coverage that we first brought you Friday night.
Meg McLeod is in the Continuous News Center with more information. Meg.
Hi, David. Hi, Carrie. It's an issue many schools don't have a set policy on. Should games go on even if school doesn't? Flint Community Schools, for instance, has a simple rule. No school, no after-school events. But not all districts have that policy. Despite school being canceled for both Midland and Saginaw Public Schools on Friday, the boys' basketball game still went on in Midland. Parents at the Arthur Hill Midland High game sounded off about how they believe it should be handled.
But in the past, if they didn't have school, then they should have canceled the game and rescheduled.
I think with the 40-degree change in temperature, it's pretty easy to explain.
With all of these differences in opinion, we wanted to find out if there are any state policies on this issue. Michigan High School Athletic Association Communications Director John Johnson says the decision is up to the local school district during the regular season, adding some have a strict no school, no sports policy, while others wait and see what travel will be like. However, this differs from MHSAA tournaments. Johnson says, quote, the need to maintain the tournament progression has to be considered since the flexibility doesn't exist like it does in the regular season to reschedule. If at least 60% of participants can get to that tournament, it resumes as normal. In the Continuous News Center, Meg McLeod, WNEM-TV5.
All right, thanks for the explanation, Meg. And just so you know, for a reminder for the latest on area school closings, not game cancellations, but school closings and delays, check out our website at WNEM.com. Click on the weather tab.
Across Michigan, the death toll related to the General Motors faulty ignition switch rose to 57 today. Each eligible death claim is worth at least $1 million under the company's compensation guidelines. More than 2 million cars were recalled by GM due to ignition switches that can inadvertently turn the engine off, disabling the car's power steering and airbags. As of Friday, 479 death claims have been made and nearly 4,000 injury claims have been received.
A 14-year-old boy from Metro Detroit has been arrested after making threats to shoot up his high school. The teen posted on Facebook that he was going to shoot up Milford High School and compared his plans to the 1999 Columbine High School massacre in Colorado. The Oakland County Sheriff says several firearms were removed from his parents' home. The boy remains in custody at the Oakland Children's Village Detention Center.
Well, it's hard to think about lifeguarding in these temperatures, but Michigan Parks and Rec officials are because they're worried about a shortage of lifeguards for this upcoming summer. So why the shortage? The main reason is that many teens and college students are spending their summers on career paths. Officials say the shortage has been a challenge for years, and it's the reason why many public pools have short hours of operation.
New tonight, new legislation is making its way through Lansing aimed at helping unemployed veterans. A roundtable discussion with local vets and small business owners was held at Saginaw Valley State University today. Hosted by the legislative Democrats, the event laid out the new initiative and how it would work. And it works by giving businesses that hire an unemployed veteran a one-time tax credit of up to $4,000.
It's a win-win for all of us because we want our veterans to be employed and we want our small businesses to thrive, and by being able to bring them into the workforce, it helps our economy as well.
Michigan has the second highest veteran unemployment rate in the United States. Republicans tell us the bill has broad bipartisan support from the Senate and will be introduced in the House in the coming weeks.